Was a girl running in a group. She had a high-speed motor in a 40 Ford coupe. She had a racing cam and a supercharged. Look at Buddy, hot rod and large. She's a hot rod. She's a hot rod.
And I like this story. The Hyundai, remember Hyundai and Kia? People are suing them left and right, making them crazy because you could steal them. An 8th grader could steal a Kia. You know, it was just terrible. Well, a study by the Highway Loss Data Institute finds that a software device developed by the companies to prevent vehicle theft dropped the claim rates by 53%. So they're still stealing them, but they're not stealing them the easy way. 22 of the 2011 to 22 Kia and Hyundai models are qualified for the upgrade. That goes back to 2011. I didn't realize that. The HLDA said of the eligible vehicles that were upgraded by December 2023, 30% of the Hyundais and 28% of the Kias had theft claim frequencies 53% lower than those that did not receive any upgrade. So they're off the hook a little bit. They're still going to pay a big settlement. That's just not going to happen too fast. Lithium ion. Lithium ion, again, we talk about this all the time, and I always expound upon the fact that it's just so volatile, and it catches fire, and it's just not right. It's just a wrong battery for these cars. And they finally are starting to agree with me, I think, because there's a new sheriff in town. The lithium ion battery fire regulation could help heal industry-wide black eye. This is just the start of this. Watch. While gasoline vehicles are far more prone to fires, who said that? Electric vehicles and mobility devices present concerns because lithium-ion batteries can sustain their own heat and fires can be harder to extinguish. You know, I call the fire chief here in town at least once every 3 weeks to see if he's got any way to put these fires out yet, and he does not. He says, you got to have a lot of water. While most of the legislation addresses rulemaking by the Consumer Product Safety Commission and therefore does not govern cars and trucks, the lawmaking demonstrates an increased attention to battery fires that have plagued micro-mobility devices like electric bikes and have caused rare but alarming fires in electric vehicles. What are you talking about, rare but alarming? What are you talking about, rare? EVs and micro-mobility devices present concerns because lithium-ion batteries can self-sustain their heat, and fires can be harder to extinguish. No. An August 1st fire caused by a Mercedes-Benz EV, electric vehicle, it's their EQE model, in an underground parking garage in Incheon, South Korea, damaged more than 100 other cars and took 8 hours to put out. I mean, what do you think about that, Charles? They're not going to let electric vehicles in parking garages at all. But these fires are rare. Just ask whoever was in. I'm going to send him an email, that guy, because now I want to tell you about and get your input on this, Sir Charles. You big engineer guy, you. The new battery in town, the new sheriff in town. Solid-state batteries could be a major game changer in the electric vehicle market, promising safer, smaller, and more energy-dense power storage that would enable electric cars and truck makers to offer more range at less cost. Well, that would be a nice change. But many researchers say that despite announcements of early production goals before 2030 by Toyota, and several other solid-state battery developers, it is likely to be years before solid-state electric vehicle batteries are ready for mass market application. Well, we got plenty of time because they're not selling. You got all the time in the world. Go ahead and work on them. The goal is to develop an electric vehicle battery that can reliably deliver lots of range ultra-quick charging times, and longer life than the batteries in use today. Solid-state batteries can do all that. You know what? They can. Solid-state batteries are the berries. That's the way we want to go, I think. By eliminating the highly flammable liquid electrolyte solutions, solid-state technology also improves electric vehicle safety and provides for faster charging times. Wait, I didn't think that they caught on fire very often. The highly flammable liquid electrolyte solutions? Okay. The industry goal is 15 minutes or less for batteries with about 300 miles of range. Solid-state batteries can enable that. Wow. Closing in on the ideal electric vehicle charging session that lasts no longer than a gas station stop for a conventional combustion engine cars and trucks. So, even if this is the future, are we still going to have electric cars? Still going to have all electric cars, Charles? I don't think so. I mean, the solid state would be a lot safer, a lot less fires.
Right. I think ultimately we're going towards a hybrid type solution. And, I think the solid state definitely would be a safer way to go.
Well, if you've got a battery that you can charge in 15 minutes at a charger, if you've got an alternator on your vehicle while it's running on a hybrid,
right,
it can charge that battery while you're driving. I mean, it can make this. You could be continually driving your car. You could actually go cross country in that car. It really could. I hesitate to think of anybody trying that now without a detailed map of where the charging stations are, and then you got to cross your fingers that they all work.
Right.
So, but the solid state battery is less. There's no lithium ion in it. There's lithium metal anode is in it, but that's it. And I'm telling you, and it's going to be cheaper. It's going to be lighter. It's going to be smaller, and it charges in 15 minutes. Now you can't beat that. Charging in 15 minutes. That's a gas station stop. That's like going to Buc-ee's, Chuck.
Right.
Chuck always likes to go to Buc-ee's. And I got to tell you, did you see any electric charging stations at Buc-ee's yet?
They are starting to get some, yes.
Are they?
I was on a trip across country, and I'm always looking to see. It seems like a lot of the rest stops and everybody are getting Tesla chargers, Tesla branded chargers. So you're seeing a lot of them. So, when we were on the I-80 corridor, which was one of the first cross-country corridors for electric vehicle charging.
East and west, yes.
So, I mean, as far as, you can go east, you just can't go north and south. But if you're going east and west, you're good.
Yeah.
So, other than that, it's who knows. But yeah, I mean, I think the chargers that are there, the infrastructure is there. Just the idea of everyone getting one is the issue.
Well,
I mean, because you're talking about 6 chargers. And that's 6 cars that are stuck there for an hour or two.
And you want everybody, everybody to have an electric car.
Right.
So you could have 15 cars pull into a rest stop area, and looking for a charging station, and there's only 6 there.
Yeah, we've seen that like on Thanksgiving or Christmas. All of a sudden, you got hundreds of Teslas lined up, like in California, to charge up, and they're going to miss Christmas at that point.
They're going to be better there for New Year's maybe.
Right.
I got to tell you that this solid-state battery would be a game changer. And if it comes to that, I think we're going to see a lot safer vehicles. But I don't think all electric is going to happen. I just don't see it happening. It can, I suppose. I mean, if they come up with a battery for the Tesla, because Tesla doesn't have an internal combustion engine, where the other cars do. Although they put all their money into electricity this last time.
Right, I'd say that would put Elon at quite the disadvantage at that point.
Well, it would, if in fact he couldn't charge, if he couldn't come up with that same kind of battery.
Right.
And the technology is out there, trust me. They've been talking about it for the longest time. Well, we've been discussing a couple things over the weeks here, and this is 2 things that the losses continue to pile up at Rivian and Lucid in the second quarter. Both electric vehicle makers have received large cash infusions to help stem cash burn and pay for continued operations. They're hurting. They're down and out. They really are. The deficit was 21% greater than its $1.2 billion loss in the same period last year. The Irvine, California automaker said in its August 6th financial report. However, Rivian is losing more money on every sale. It lost $32,705 per vehicle delivered in the second quarter, with $32,595 in the same period last year. So it's up a little bit. But how can you lose $32,000 on every vehicle and stay in business? You can't. You can't. You can't make something for $50 and sell it for $25 and expect to be in business for long.
Well, you can if you have a never-ending government subsidy.
Well, that's the other thing. This government subsidy has got to go. That's what they're fighting with China. That's the next story I got. The latest example of a funding infusion, executives announced at a June investor event that Volkswagen Group made a $5 billion investment in the automaker. Well, at $32,000 a car, that's not going to last real long, which they see as a path to profitability. Part of the money will be used for a joint venture to incorporate Rivian's electric architecture into the future VW Group vehicles. Lucid will also receive a cash infusion. The Newark, California automaker said August 5th that the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia will inject $1.5 billion in cash. AR Third Investment, an affiliate of the Saudi fund, an affiliate, has agreed to buy $750 million worth of convertible preferred stock and provide similar amount as a credit line. The fund is Lucid's majority stockholder. So the Arabs, the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, is funding Rivian or Lucid. Oh God! I mean, come on. If it's not selling, it's not selling. Come on. The U.S. Commerce Department. Now this is something we have talked about and beat to death. The U.S. Commerce Department is expected to propose barring Chinese software in any autonomous and connected vehicles in the next coming weeks, according to sources briefed on the matter. The administration plans to issue a proposed rule that would bar Chinese software in vehicles in the U.S. with level 3 automation and above, which would have the effect of also banning testing on U.S. roads of autonomous vehicles produced by Chinese companies. They want China out of this country. They want to throw them out. Under the proposal, automakers and suppliers would need to verify that none of their connected vehicle or advanced autonomous vehicle software was developed in a foreign entity of concern, like China. That's what they're talking about, entity of concern. That's China. A spokesman for the Chinese embassy in Washington said electric vehicles are a globalized industry. Only division of labor and cooperation can bring mutual benefits, and only fair competition can bring technological progress. The spokesperson said, adding, China urges the U.S. to earnestly abide by market principles and international trade rules and create a level playing field for companies from all countries. China will firmly defend its lawful rights and interests. Now, I got to tell you, the big rub against China is that their cars are made so cheap because they're government subsidized. Well, guess what? Our cars aren't government subsidized. Where did all these grants for billions of dollars for batteries and electric cars go? You tell me. Well, Chuck, are you ready for another chip problem? I am so tired of chip problems. Intel, who else? Grim forecasts could concern automakers in the wake of microchip crisis. Oh, come on. Intel is a major supplier of semiconductors to the automotive industry, having supplied chips installed in more than 50 million vehicles. So Intel is there. They got the business. What are we talking about? Intel said it plans to cut more than 15% of its workforce of around 110,000 people. It is also suspending dividend payments to shareholders starting in the fourth quarter and will continue that until cash flows improve to substantially higher levels. According to the statement, the company has not Well, the company has paid a dividend since 1992, but there's not going to be one this year. Intel is a major supplier of semiconductors to the automotive industry, having supplied chips installed in more than 50 million vehicles, according to the company. It said 18 automakers have vehicles with Intel chips on the road for use in their electric vehicle and software systems. Intel also owns a majority stake in Mobileye, which is locked in a battle for market share with NVIDIA and Qualcomm for advanced chips used for automated driving systems. Now, Chuck, do you think that the big lull in electric vehicle sales and the big harassment of self-driving, you think that's causing the microchip problem?
No, I think it stems back to the lockdowns, but I think it also, again, going back to uncertainty, is pre-pandemic, everybody had very efficient workflows. They had very efficient, supply chains. Everything was humming along well, and then the entire world threw this giant, wrench in the works, and they never recovered properly.
No, they never did.
Coming out of that, you had, you just continue to have these punches of the financial issues, the rates, and so even we talk about the uncertainty of the market is, before we talked about EVs, there was a certainty. You're always going to have a gas vehicle. The goal was always just to make them more efficient. Now we've got this wild card of, is it going to be EV? Is it going to be hybrid?
Or is it going to be gas?
Is it going to be gas? Is it going to be big? Is it going to be small?
And then you hear all these stories about the zillions of dollars that these guys are investing, and you want to know, what's the story here? Are they actually spending this kind of money because there's a future in electric vehicles? Because right now, they're coming back, like you said, after the COVID lockdown and all that other stuff and all the problems with the chips before. And instead of making a big comeback, nobody's buying them.
Well, and I'm going to try to get, I'll try to get on mini soapbox on this. Because I was thinking about this the other day is you find ourselves in this cycle of government printing money to bail out EV, which makes EV more expensive, and then people can't afford EV. And so you've created this cycle of, well, why are EVs expensive? Well, the materials are expensive and everything's, labor's expensive. Well, why is it? Well, because we printed money to support EVs.
Right.
And so it's sort of like you can't untangle this web, right? There's a certain point where you're just running in the circle of, well, we need more money for EV. Well, EVs are getting more expensive. Well, the interest rates are going up. Why are the interest rates going up? Because we're printing more money for EVs.
We're printing more money.
And,
we have a circle
to send to a bunch of people overseas and do whatever else with. So you're basically creating this vicious cycle. And I don't see anybody at this point talking about breaking that cycle.